Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Build Hacks. This is update 1.21.4, which introduces the new Pale Garden Biome and Creaking Mob. This update brought us so many unique and new blocks, which is super great for me because I get to make a brand new build hack video. Walking into the new Pale Garden Biome, we can see that the sky starts to desaturate and it almost looks like the screen has gone black and white. I've used the pale oak saplings along with some dead coral plants to add some nice flora that also fits the atmosphere. If you plant a pale oak sapling just by itself, it will never grow. It has to be in a 2x2 configuration. I've also used some tough blocks along with the pale moss. It works really well as we go along here. These new resin clumps that you can place on any block are probably my favorite part of this entire update. You can use them as lava splatter, or you can even use them to make large versions of these mushrooms that we've had for quite some time now. Moving along here, I have used the pale oak wood fences and fence gates to make some cute little trees, along with some diorite walls and the pale oak leaves and pale hanging moss there. This update brings a lot of new potential for some new custom tree ideas, which I love because I love making myself some custom trees. This one here, I mixed in some acacia wood in with the pale wood to make myself a willow tree. The pale hanging moss, of course, has to be used to make a nice willow tree because now we have the ability to make some hanging leaves off there that aren't as bright green as glowberries are. I've also mixed in some pale moss in with the leaves so that you can place some grass or ferns on top of them, make the leaves look a little bit more bushy. Up here, I have a nice campfire where I have used some resin clumps to make some nice embers. As you can see from the fire, if you watch it a little bit, some embers will fly out, and now you can actually have some placed down in your world. Over here, I've even used some resin clumps as some like dripping resin from this tree. It is taking it and putting it into this little barrel. The pale oak trapdoors look a lot like a barrel texture. Works perfectly in situations like those. Heading on up the stairs, I've built a nice archway, mixing some quartz in with the pale wood, and now we are at my manor. This manor is supposed to be kind of creepy, abandoned, but before we go inside, let's take a look out in the front lawn. I've used the pale oak fences and fence gates along with some white candles to make a nice white fencing design. I've also used the pale wood to make a beautiful bird bath, which I've tried to put parrots inside of, but they keep escaping somehow, even though they're sat down. I don't know, maybe something to do with the water, but it does look nice on its own without any birds in it. Over here, I've used the pale wood to make a nice car, but the thing I want to bring your attention to over here is using the creaking hearts along with some mycelium to make it look like tire treads have gone over through the dirt here. Looking at the outside of the manor here, I have used some of the pale moss carpets as well as some of the pale hanging moss to add some overgrown look to the manor. But if we head inside the door, I have a nice kitchen and dining room area here. I've placed some of these pale oak pressure plates on top of some item frames with items in them, and you can make plates or cutting boards and frame whatever item you'd like without the item frame even being visible, without invisible item frames even being needed, which is really cool. I've also used some of the stripped pale oak wood along with some quartz and calcite to make a nice marble countertop. Using some of the pale moss carpets, I've added a nice design along the countertop, which looks pretty cool. Using the resin clumps, you can make it look like embers are coming out of a furnace that is smelting some items. I've also used some of the pale trapdoors to make some cabinets up above there. Let's head on upstairs. And up here, it's an unfinished upstairs, but I have a nice carpet using some of the creaking hearts. Make a really cool shaggy looking carpet design here. You can tell it's unfinished because it is still being painted. Using the pale oak planks, you can make it look like a wall is being painted white. We have so many different options for some white paint. We have white candles, buckets of milk. You can even make a barrel using the pale oak trapdoors, and some snow layers to make it look like a big paint bucket. Moving along, outside of the back door, we have a snowy area. To my right, I have built a nice planter using the trapdoors, and you can also make some nice berry bushes by putting some resin clumps on some leaves just like that. I've also made some icicles using the diorite walls, pale oak fences, and some glass panes. I've added them over here and over here. Those look really nice along with some ice and snow. But the real thing to shine in this area is these custom trees I've made. Using the stripped pale oak wood along with some pale oak trapdoors, stairs, slabs, fences, gates, all of the different options, you can make some really nice white trees. And the pale oak leaves work really well in snowy areas. They just look like they're cold leaves, and putting some snow on top of them really completes the look on any type of wood. Using these leaves in a snowy area would look really good. But yeah, enough of these beautiful trees. Our next area is going to be located down here in the snow. Down here I have made some beautiful archways using the pale oak wood. I even made a moon using some smooth quartz and pale oak trapdoors. I have a gradient on the floor going from stripped birch wood all the way to diorite at the very end. I even have a gradient on the sides here from the pale moss to some darker blocks on the edges. I've also used the pale wood to make some skull designs using some gates up there on the walls. I wanted to include these. I'm not sure what you could use them for, but they do look like some new ore blocks. Using the resin clumps on a blackstone and netherrack looks the best. Now for the finishing touch of this room, we have this nice stage area. I've used some resin blocks and resin walls to make some nice curtains. I've also used one of the eye blossoms to make a microphone, which actually looks pretty nice. It is a little bit too tall, but the main issue with this one is that when it becomes nighttime, it will open up just like that. And it no longer looks like a microphone. That's better. Alright, moving on to this room here, I have built another kitchen area. This one is more for like a fast food area, more where they're frying some food, because using the resin blocks you can make some nice fryer oil with a lever there as like a fryer basket inside. I also have one of the chiseled resin bricks because it kind of looks like some french fries. You have to use your imagination a little bit, but I don't know if you'd ever use that, but it does kind of look like it. Also, over here, I have some nice modern shelves using the pale oak slabs and stairs with some bookshelves behind, which looks really nice there. Moving on, I have this nether portal, which brings me into another gradient all the way from netherrack to the new frog lights, using some of the resin clumps and resin blocks to bridge the gaps between the blocks here. And at the end of this tunnel, I have some miscellaneous builds I would like to include in this video. The first miscellaneous build, I'm sure you can all recognize. It's the Mario block. These ones here are some little jellyfishes and sea monsters that I've created with the pale hanging moss. And then I've made some fall trees up here using some of the resin blocks. Using the resin clumps here on the trees and also on the ground makes it look like some nice fallen fall leaves. This is the first thing I thought of when I saw this block. It looks like just some leaves on the ground, and under a nice fall tree, it really gives that impression. And finally, my final two builds are these ones here, mixing some mangrove planks in with the pale oak. You can make some nice designs like a telephone pole or a lighthouse. That telephone pole especially looks really good, and we were not able to do anything like that before. So those ones are some good ones to keep in mind if you want to build a city or something and want to have some realism in there. But that is about it for this build hacks video. I hope you all enjoyed. I did not come up with all of these ideas on my own. I got some from some other channels on YouTube, which I have linked in the description. I also have a world download available down in the description as well if you'd like to check out these builds for yourself. But with that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you're new. And I will see you all in the next one. Later!